Hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Judy. Today we're going to talk about different types of yarn weight, and crochet hooks. Okay, so before we can do anything else, we need to know a little bit about yarn and what kind of yarn we should use. So it comes in a variety of ways. Let me tell you, if you're just used to going to your local hobby store or Michael's, you're only going to get a small taste of what is out there online at different websites for the biggest selection of yarn you've ever seen. Seriously. It's if you're into crocheting, you're going to love looking at all the different ways the yarn comes, and it's going to be hard for you to choose what yarn you want to start with for a project just because there are so many options and colors and color schemes. So first of all, let's talk about weight. Okay, I have here. Now, first of all the information you ever need is on the label of the yarn. Okay, some don't give up as much information as others, but you get the important stuff. This yarn is cotton. Oh, no, it isn't. I'm sorry. It's acrylic. It is a 3 lightweight yarn. Okay. And it recommends a size 4mm hook with this yarn. Okay. It's kind of thin, so good for babies, good for lightweight baby blankets. Then we have, I think this is a forward. Just want to make sure, yeah. So then we have something, and it says this is just solid color, comes in many solid colors, and different brands. This is a medium 4-weight yarn. Shows you what size knitting needles they recommend here. And here's for your crochet hook. So it is 5.5 millimeters. So a 5.5mm crochet hook is recommended. Now that's the one they recommend, but you can also bump it up half a size to a full size and even a little more depending on what you're doing. If I'm going to make a blanket with this medium 4 yarn, which is like the typical yarn that everybody uses for everything, this weight, medium 4 weight, I'm probably going to use a 6 or 6.5. Okay, but you can use a 5. What I tell everybody is if you're going to make a blanket or a scarf or whatever, just do a small sample size using a size 5.5, then do it using a 6 and 6.5, and see which one you like best for your project. The bigger the hook, the more the flow of it is lighter. The stitches are a little further apart, and it has a nice drape to it. Okay, so we have a medium 4 yarn, and that comes in solid colors, self-striping, variegated yarn, which is a mixture of a bunch of colors, self-striping yarn. So 100% acrylic. This one happens to be 90% acrylic, 10% nylon. These ombres are great for shawls and blankets. Okay, it also tells you the care of the fabric on it, machine washable and dryable, and it tells you the weight of the yarn. So usually I go with either grams or yards, depending on the pattern. So it's 150 grams for 295 yards. Sometimes a certain pattern will say you need this amount of yarn, say it's 600 grams, then you know you'd have to get 4 of these, okay? If you were, this is an ombre. Ombres are awesome and they come in a bunch of different ways. Then we have this, I want to show you the difference if I can. This is a medium 4 yarn compared to the strands of a 3 light yarn. So you can see the difference in thickness, okay? Medium 4 yarn weight, you can't go wrong, especially when learning, okay? Now we have the next size up for weight is a 5. Is it on here? Yeah, it's right here, 5. This is 100 grams. This is my favorite yarn to go to for solid colors. It comes, this particular brand comes in over 80 colors. 100% acrylic. It's really, really soft. It is considered a 5 weight, so it's a little bit thicker than the medium 4. So 5s are great for blankets. Okay. And again, 5 weight can come in ombres and self-striping and variegated, all different ways. And in all different materials, okay? So to be safe, if you're just starting out, let's just stick with acrylic or an acrylic blend where the acrylic percentage is higher than, say, the little bit of nylon that's added to it or a little bit of wool that's added to it. Those are fine as well. All right, so we have our 3 light, and trust me, there's fine and then super fine, which is like string. So, which I don't deal with. Okay, I need to be able to see what I'm doing. All right, so we have our 5 weights, and then we just did the 5 weight is considered a bulky. Now this is super bulky. All right, so we're just looking at the weight right now, not so much what the yarn looks like, coloring wise, but that is a 5 weight, good for thick blankets. Okay, this size happens to be 200 grams, so that's like 2 of these in this big one. Again, all the information on the back, 100% acrylic, 200 grams, size 8 for knitting, size 8 for crocheting, and I would definitely bump this up to a 9, 9.5, even a 10 if I was making a blanket. So all the information that you need is always on your label. This is considered a self-striping yarn. Let me fix this. A self-striping yarn, as you can see, it changes colors gradually. Cakes, these are called cakes. They come, self-striping can have just 4 colors or 3 colors or 5 colors. This one looks like it has 1, 2, 3, 5, maybe 5 colors in all. So it changes color gradually. And these are great for blankets because you don't have to worry about color changing and having a bunch of tails to sew in at the end. You just keep using the same yarn over and over again till your project is done. So those are called cakes. And did I get everything that I wanted to show you as far as yarn? Now that's just a small sampling, but I just want you to be aware of weight, okay? So if you're just learning how to crochet, look for a medium 4 weight yarn, 100% acrylic or an acrylic blend. Like this one here was 90% acrylic and 20% nylon. 10% nylon, sorry. Sometimes, like I said, it can be 60% acrylic, 40% cotton, and so on. So that there is all cotton yarn as well. Not recommended for learning how to crochet. And that's more for garments and stuff. So there's all different kinds of material, which you will find out when you start looking at yarn. But safe bet, for most all projects is acrylic and acrylic blends. Till you get to know what you're doing. So let's talk about crochet hooks. Now, when I was a kid, we didn't have all these different varieties of yarn and crochet hooks. And all that I think that was available was these aluminum crochet hooks. And they come in very small sizes to very big sizes. And all crochet hooks tell you what the size is on them. Okay. So these are fine and they're cheap. And then they came out with these ergonomic rubber handled ones. Again, you can get a package of like from size 3.5 up to size 8, which is fine. Chances are you won't be using a 3.25 or 3.5 or even a 4, especially when learning. So I recommend a size 5 crochet hook for beginners, a 5.5, and a 6, and you'd be good to go. This is a 5, this is a 6. That's your average size for your medium 4 yarns. This is a 4.5, which I am using with a 3 light yarn right now. That's about as small as I will get for crochet hook size. So they get big. They get bigger and bigger and bigger. This is a size 8. And then these are great. Okay, and that's probably most likely what you go with. But I don't know when they came out with these, but I was turned on to them about, I don't know, 5, 6 months ago. And they look like they're all plastic. And you buy them separately. I have seen maybe a set of 3, but the bigger sizes. So yeah, this is a size 15. Isn't that crazy? That's for like chunky yarn. Yeah, so I picked up a size 6. They don't have the smaller sizes that I can see for the all plastic. I have a 6, I have a 7, and I have an 8 that I picked up, and then some big ones. These work awesome, these plastic ones. Some have a little bit of rubber here. I guess they all do. I just really never noticed. I have one that is all plastic, but the yarn just slides very smoothly throughout this shaft and the hook. It's just, I love them. I love them. Okay. But I still use these for most projects. I use the bigger ones for when I want to use a thicker yarn or bigger size hook. Then I go with the plastic ones, but do pick up a package of the rubber handle ones. Okay. And if you can see, they also have, sometimes they have a letter next to it, and that's UK terms. They go by the alphabet. So you're just looking for the 5 point whatever millimeter or whatever the number is. This is an L size in the UK. For us, it's an 8 millimeter. All right, so recommendations: get yourself a 5, a 5.5, and a 6, and you'll be good to go and follow along with all the tutorials. And I would give you a heads up if I thought you needed to have bigger size or smaller size. But to start, most of all the companies that sell them stick with the same color handles here. Like, mostly all purples are a size 5, but there are some cheaper companies, especially on Amazon, that don't follow that. So just make sure that you can actually read it, what sizes they are in the description, or you can actually see what size the hooks are. So you can get those on Amazon's your best bet to get things quickly and not having to leave the house. I will leave a link to get some crochet hooks like this into the video, okay? So that covers your yarn, your crochet hooks, and just a few other things that are needed. Some scissors, my little scissors, a tapestry needle. Now these, you can get a bunch of them, inexpensive. On Amazon, just type in tapestry needle. And so you're just looking for a needle with a big eye so that you can pass your yarn through it when sewing in tails or sewing squares together and things like that. And then the last thing is chain markers. And you can get a case like this, relatively extremely cheap, with like 200 chain markers. Chain markers can be used in different ways. I use them when I'm making a long chain of like 50 and up to 200 or 250 chains. So every time I do 25 chains, I mark it with a marker. I put the marker into the 25th chain, then continue, count another 25 and mark it, and so on and so on. That way there, if I miscount as I'm going along, or I get interrupted and I forgot where I was, I know that I can pull the yarn out to the nearest chain marker. And if I have 3 chain markers showing going down, I know that's 75. And my next one will be 76, and I just continue on. Trust me, it's so much easier than trying to count your chains. You will never, ever come up with the same number twice if you just tried to count them by laying it straight. And trust me, it's just easier to do your chain markers. It's also used for identifying stitches. Sometimes in a certain pattern, it might be easier for you to mark like where your corner is. So you know exactly where you're going when you get to it. Things like that. So you can also get at Amazon they sell like a pack of the crochet hooks with the chain, with some chain markers and with tapestry needle for like $13-14. Okay, so that's your best bet. Or you can just type in at Amazon, you can type in crochet kit for beginners and go from there. They actually give you a bunch of little skeins of yarn, all different colors, your chain markers, hooks that you need, everything you need, and you'll be good to go and follow along with any tutorial. Now, the reason why I had to start all over with this, I had purchased a laptop like a month ago, and I went to go set it up and everything, and then it wouldn't work well with some apps. So I decided I was going to send it back, and I restored it, and it didn't look like it took all my files off. So I deleted everything manually, went through every folder, and I just deleted, not thinking that because we use the cloud, I have 2 other big computers, personal computers, plus a tablet. And when I went to use my other computer, all my folders were empty. So I literally have like, I don't know, 12 years or so of pictures, all the videos I did for my Facebook page, my crochet page on Facebook, everything, all my tutorials, all my patterns, everything got wiped out. And I do not know if I can get it back because I think it deleted it from the cloud. And I'm not, no genius here when it comes to doing anything but recording and uploading. So I decided, well, this is a good time to just start getting that YouTube page done. There's also a link that takes you to my Facebook group. It's called Yarn Over with Judy. If you click on that, you can join my group there. We have 230 members right now. I've had this group for almost 4 years. I also give away at the end of every tutorial, I draw 5 names for a crochet bundle. So, and it's free. So whoever comes forward and messages me their mailing address, I ship it out to them. Like I said, no strings attached. Just I'd like to get as many people interested in crocheting because it's just a great craft to know throughout your whole life. If you're young, I learned how to do squares, crochet granny squares when I was like 12 years old. I never forgot, and through the years, every 5 or 10 years, I would start making squares again. But that's all I knew how to do until I turned 60. And my whole life turned upside down. I was living in South Carolina. Me and my husband had been there for 17 years. We lived in Massachusetts. We moved there when he retired. And in 2021, he got sick and passed away. So there was no reason for me to stay in South Carolina anymore because my family is back here in the Northeast. And my daughter said, you know, she asked me if I wanted to come live with her and her family. And so that's where I am now in Connecticut. So I just have a lot of free time now. I used to have 2 dogs, 13 parakeets, a lake in my backyard. Just continuously busy all the time. I had an Avon business for over 10 years and it was online and it was great. It was a good business. And when my husband passed away, everything went away, even my dogs and my birds. I brought 1 dog with me to Connecticut, but it really wasn't working out here because I didn't realize my daughter had 3 cats and 2 dogs and a couple of rabbits. And my Westie, whom I love so much, did not, he saw cats, and I think it was the first time he's ever really saw a cat. So we just could not keep his mind off of the cats. So long story short, I posted in a community page and I landed up finding this awesome family that lives right down the street from me. She had 2 young kids, perfect age to have a dog. They have a great life, big pool, everything. So he went from a really good life to a really good life. And I could go visit him anytime I want, but I choose not to because I don't think I can handle it. And I didn't want my dog to get all confused. But she sends me pictures now and again. And I think about him all the time. That was the only one thing I hated to have to give up. So anyways, long story short, I started crocheting. And then 4 months later, I thought, I'm going to start a group. And by doing that, it forced me to learn quickly how to do all kinds of things. And so here we are, almost 4 years later, and that takes me to what I'm doing now. So I'm not going to have no fancy video with music and, all kinds of things. It's very simple. This crochet channel is for beginners who just want to learn the basics and then be able to crochet some patterns that are easy, that either use 1 or 2 or even 3 stitches for shawls, blankets, scarves, even headbands. Once you learn the few stitches, there's already one video posted on the basics. Start there. So once you learn that, you can go to part 2, which will be uploaded soon. And by next week, I will be posting patterns, tutorials to follow along. So this video is really for you to just get the materials you need. So just to follow along, I would recommend getting 1 or 2 or 3 solid colors, light colors, pastel colors, because the stitches are easy to see, and about 100 grams, 50 to 100 grams of each color. That's all you're going to need to follow along and do swatch size patterns. Also, you'll need at least a 5 and a 5.5, or a 5 and a 6, or all three, 5, 5.5, and a 6, some scissors and chain markers. Optional, but they do help, and your tapestry needle. Okay. And again, I will place some links with the video to get some of the items that you need to make it easy. All right. So practice, 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 and you'll be able to follow along. And do check out the Facebook group and join. Make sure you join so that your name goes into the drawing. Okay, I have a big box with all the members' names. So if you want your name in there, you have to make sure you join. Now, obviously, this is for people who live in the United States as far as the drawing goes. I am not going to ship internationally, just within the United States. Okay, all right. So we'll see you soon enough in another video. But for now, get the items you need and start practicing how to chain, single crochet, double crochet, and slip stitch in the part 1 video. Have a great Friday.